in their affairs. If you discover, you can't see a Jew that is a poor man or a poor woman. It's a taboo. And there's a reason for that. And what is their secret? Their secret is as soon as a child becomes up to an age of 5 years, any money that comes to him or her, she cannot spend all. So they had this arithmetic for their income: 10% for God, minimum of 10% for God, minimum of 30% for savings and investment, and maximum of 60% for consumption. And that is what we have been doing. So once you have your income, try and put minimum of 30% for savings and later invest. And you now see that those investments, they will be bringing returns in the future. And we advise you on safe investment, on prudent investment, where you can invest and it will give you good returns in the future.
Ultimately, Nigerians need to learn how to distinguish between their needs and their wants, and also learn to live within their means to achieve financial stability.
So you think you earn 30,000 a month and you think you can't save, because saving leads to investment. You have to have a little savings of your own before you expect somebody to believe in you enough to lend you some money, and then you do an investment. So out of that 30,000, if you purpose to save 500 naira a month or 1,000 a month, you're on the way to being a financially viable person. I said on the way. We must start. So in proportion to your 30,000, 500 or 1,000 may seem like a lot, but it's something doable. Because a lot of us still, relating it to needs and wants, we spend more than that on some wants in the month. I'm sure you know that. So if you now say to yourself, this month, that kunu that I always drink in the office every day, you are enriching the kunu woman, which is her own business. But if you say every other day, the kunu money, I put it aside, you may be able to raise 500 naira savings per month, if not more. Okay, when it's groundnut season, we just buy groundnut and just eat because it's available. A lot of us not because we're hungry, because we may have had breakfast. So think of those things as wants, not needs. They're not imperatives to your livelihood or to your living.
Once you eat up everything, it means you want your future to be bleak. But somebody who preserves something, he must have suffered a bit. He's taking a risk. So, and nobody takes risk that will not get rewarded. So if you are the same mate with somebody and he's eating up all his salary, and you are saving some and making sure that you are starved in a way, of course you are protecting your future, and your future will be brighter than that man or that woman that eats up everything. It's a common sense thing. Whatever you sow, you reap.
There is also advocacy for citizens to explore having various streams of income apart from monthly salary, if any.
I'll give you an example. Some time ago, I invested in some ugu farmers. And when it got to a point where I thought there was some delay now creeping into how they send our dividends back to us, I stopped. Some people went beyond. In the process, they lost their money. Now, investing in farming, and I would say investing in online farming now, because now we don't know whether the farms really exist or not. A lot of people have lost their money thereby. Because the Ponzi schemers are also getting into this farming investment. So they talk about, they give you a virtual picture of a good farm, and it may not exist. So people invest and they don't get their monies returned. I mean, they don't get returns on it. So if you are critical about where you put your money, you would need to know actual addresses of those firms and maybe a bit more search into the actual ownership. You think it might be too much, but it's your money we're talking about. If you want to invest in the lady down the road who is frying akara, and you see her every morning, she's a more veritable investment initiative than the firms you don't see. Do you understand? So we can actually be innovative about where we invest this year. Invest where you know you can easily reach out, get your money, or at least you know where you're investing. That's a guaranteed source of dividends for you.
Why financial management is key this year? Management experts say it can be achieved by being prudent to avoid financial crisis. In their opinion, uncontrolled expenses without saving or deliberate investment is an expressway to poverty.
But talking more strategically about finances, we must learn to save this year. We must learn to invest if you haven't been investing. And if you have been investing, we must learn to diversify the investments. A lot of people lost money because they put all their money in one investment initiative or the other. And basically, we must learn to be financially literate. Financial literacy is not about going to school and reading BSc Finance or HND Finance, but we must learn to understand our money and let the money work for us.
There are certain things that you can do and still save for investment. The key word is saving that minimum of 10% of your income or 30% of your income for investment. And when you also give 10% for God, whichever religion you come from, that 10% for God will even bless your 30% investment. It's a law. It's a natural law. It's a divine law. It will come out very fine that at the end of the day, you will not be borrowing, you will not be a beggar.
There is also need for citizens to review and update set goals, whether they are short, mid-term, or long-term. Sticking with these tips by experts could make a difference.
Well, it goes without saying that it is always ideal for everyone to have a workable financial plan for the year. Well, that concludes this episode of 30 Minutes. Thanks for sharing your time with us. I am Dennis at Degundoye. Goodbye.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
to Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
Fellow compatriots, if no single tribe or religion has defeated poverty, then no single tribe or religion can develop Nigeria. The success story of every state and capital is the contribution of every tribe and religion. Our Nigeria no be wazobia. No majorities or minorities. Every tribe and every religion still dey hustle for naira when no get tribe or religion. So, my country people, let's join this movement that says naira no get tribe and use the naira to develop our naira land. Citizens first. Citizens first.
Revised National Policy and Population for Sustainable Development launched.
Is to improve the quality of life and standards of living of all the people of Nigeria.
President Buhari in Addis Ababa for African Union session of heads of states and government.
Federal government discovers 96 financiers of terrorism in Nigeria.
424 associate supporters of the financiers. Involvement of about 123 companies.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the life and times of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan.
And since the news of the death of the former head of interim national government, Chief Ernest Shonekan, on the 11th of January 2022, tributes and condolences have not stopped pouring in from various parts of the country and, of course, beyond the shores of Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in his tribute, said that Chief Shonekan, in his courageous wisdom, left his flourishing business career to become the head of government at a delicate time when the country needed someone of his calm mien and pedigree to save the ship of state from sinking.
And in addition to that, the president also notes that Chief Shonekan demonstrated to all that the love for country and commitment to her development, peace and unity transcends the trappings of office and as well the transient nature of political power. And therefore, Nigeria owes a great debt to Chief Shonekan, the peacemaker who, even at the twilight of his life, never stopped believing and working for a prosperous and democratic Nigeria.
Now, as part of the honor to the late Chief Shonekan, the federal government announced that flags will be flown at half-mast for some days.
Now, apart from that also, the federal government organized a state funeral which began this week with service of songs and Christian Week Keep as well as Night of Tributes.
Now, in continuation of the activities to bid the late elder statesman a final farewell, Lion Estate is shortly beginning, while the state funeral and parade of honor will be held at the Ebony Vaults in Ikoyi, Lagos later today. And
Kingsley, I also understood there'll be 21 gun salute for him.
Yes, the artillery brigade has already issued an advisory that as part of the funeral service for the late Shonekan, there will be a 21-gun salute, and that those who are resident around the Ikoyi should not panic. 21-gun salute is usually part of the honor for a departed leader. In addition, of course, I believe that his coffin will be borne by a carriage, usually a gun carriage, that takes that. It's important that Nigerians know who Chief Shonekan was. At a time, Chief Shonekan was the chief executive and chairman of UAC, that's United African Company, which was the largest conglomerate in Nigeria. It had businesses in several sectors of the economy, and it was at the top of the pie at the stock exchange. And
when he left that, we were told he also went on to form the Nigeria Economic Summit Group.
Not exactly. Chief Shonekan left his job at UAC and was then appointed head of the Transitional Council as part of the steps that the then military president, General Ibrahim Babangida, had indicated to conclude the prolonged transition program in 1993. The Transitional Council was supposed to conclude its assignment on the 27th of August 1993, following, of course, the elections that were scheduled for June 12th. But of course, we all know what happened after the elections of June 12th. And when the crisis broke out in the country, Chief Shonekan was subsequently then appointed as head of the interim national government.
He did have one or two roles to play in the setting up of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. That's what we're told. But as Nigerians and other nationals bid him farewell, what legacies are there for the people to emulate, and what other tributes are, of course, what will the tributes that Nigerians should learn from the late elder statesman help in binding the citizenry and enhance national unity? Now, what are some of the distinguishing features that stood him out in the society? Now, these are some of the issues we will be discussing as we take on the life and times of late Chief Ernest Shonekan to this edition of Good Morning Nigeria. We're reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Claire Adilabu Abdul Rasak. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I joined my colleague Claire to also welcome you to the program live on the network service of the NTA. Of course, we join all of us in conveying our deepest condolences to the family of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan and the entire nation on the loss of the elder statesman.
So we shall start off shortly with the highlights of the morning news, but of course we will also bring you the complimentary segment of the program. Najatu Tijani is with us this morning, and Najat, you won't be covering today's funeral service for the former interim government. That's because you are here in Abuja.
That's because I'm here. And I do also express my deepest condolences. I'm Najatu Tijani. Welcome to the news segment. The revised national policy on population for sustainable development aimed at ensuring the successful implementation of Nigeria's National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 has been launched. President Muhammadu Buhari, who performed the ceremony, made a strong case for urgent measures towards addressing Nigeria's high fertility rate and rapid population growth. The president also inaugurated the National Council on Population Management.
Sustainable development is to improve the quality of life and standards of living of all the people of Nigeria, which is one of the major aspirations of this government.
The National Council on Population Management will hopefully advocate for and support the conduct of the population and housing census to enable the nation achieve the goals and targets of the policy.
President Muhammadu Buhari is in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for the 35th Ordinary Session of Assembly of the African Union Heads of State and Government. This year's session is the first physical session in 2 years, which the African leaders will be attending since the outbreak of COVID-19.
Largest and the most politically significant gathering on the continent. So it's very important that Nigeria as a leader in Africa is here and represented by no less a personality than its president.
The African Union has received commendation for its firm decision to suspend Burkina Faso from participating in the continent's institution, in line with the decisions of ECOWAS on the situations in Mali and Burkina Faso. The commendation was given by the authority of the ECOWAS heads of state and government at its second extraordinary summit in Accra, Ghana. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the meeting.
Let us address this dangerous trend collectively and decisively before it devastates the whole region.
Expecting that the Malian authorities will respond to ECOWAS. We impose sanctions, as you know, and we expect that at some point the Malian authorities themselves will begin to speed up the process of transition.
First Lady Aisha Buhari has reiterated commitment at ensuring Nigerian women and girls are cervical and breast cancer free. The First Lady said this at the national flag-off of the Arm Our Youth Anti-Cancer campaign in Abuja.
My Future Assured initiative has been at the forefront of this campaign over the years, creating awareness, screening, and making referrals across the country. I intend to continue to do more and to partner with organizations such as Nigerian Cancer Society and the OCI Foundation.
The Arm Our Youth Health campaign offers an innovative approach to stemming the scourge of breast and cervical cancers among Nigerians.
And in the fight against corruption, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the federal government has discovered 96 sponsors and about 123 companies linked with financing terrorism in Nigeria. The minister announced this at a media briefing in Abuja.
Commission's system study and review of personnel and capital votes of MDAs resulted in savings of 261 million naira to the government between 2019 and 2021. ICPC has also secured 66 convictions from 243 cases it filed in court during the same 3-year period.
Meanwhile, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum of Borno State has attributed the successes recorded in the fight against terrorism in the northeastern part of the country and Borno State in particular to the total commitment of the federal government towards ensuring the restoration of lasting peace in the region. The governor disclosed this to State House press crew in a briefing organized by the Presidential Communication Team.
The gradual return of peace and a marked reduction of cases of insecurity in Borno State and major parts of the northeastern region have been attributed to the commitment and collaboration on the part of the state and federal government.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 100 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. The breakdown shows that Lagos State has 22 cases, Yobe 18, the FCT 15, Ogun and Osun have 7 new cases each, Oyo and Sokoto have 6 each, Imo 5, Kwara 4, Bauchi and Edo have 3 new infections each, while Delta, Jigawa, Kano and Nasarawa states have 1 new case each. With these new figures, Nigeria has 253,505 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Of this number, 229,893 have been treated and discharged, while 3,136 have died of the virus so far. And that's the news for now. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Kingsley and Claire after this break.
To the right. Mila, you go to the left. Thank you for the rejections that taught me to keep striving. Thank you for the long hours that taught me discipline. Thank you for the knockdowns that taught me to bounce back. And for the unexpected victories that taught me to never give up.
Please welcome Dr. Jixi.
Thank you for making me who I am.
Contemporary times require practical skills to remain competitive and relevant in your organization. Therefore, take advantage of NTA-TV College Short Proficiency courses to sharpen your professional skills. Computer Appreciation for Media Practitioners, date 21st February to 28th February 2022, 1 week. English Grammar and Pronunciation for Broadcasters, date 1st March to 25th March, 4 weeks. Administrative Principles, Processes and Practices, date 11th March to 31st March 2022, 4 weeks. Modern Trends in Broadcast Media Marketing, date 14th March to 13th April 2022, 4 weeks. Basic Broadcast Accounting and Auditing, date 4th April to 19th April 2022, 2 weeks. The course fee for the 1 week course is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for the 2 week course is 150,000 naira, while the course fee for the 4 week course is 180,000 naira only, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA-TV College, near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA-TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
The center is purposely established in order to provide these services that are examinations, medical examinations and investigations that were not provided for in Kano as well as the entire Northwest region. It's equipped with modern technological equipment in terms of radiological services. We have MRI 1.5 Tesla. We have digital X-ray as well as 4D ultrasound equipment. The importance of the center cannot be overemphasized. Just within 1 year, the center attended to thousands and numerous patients as well as medical examinations. NKDC is established in order also to provide these healthcare facilities as a discounted price.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Good morning, 7.
comply with the law, including self-act petition and such bond security if so in by state and local and the agency. Meanwhile, underpinned by tight and moderate and crucial it's barrier to West crude 0.4% at 7.9 dollars again per day. US for oil prices in a year that would be a
Thank you for business review.
Yes.
Yes. About the follows. About 70 million because of Sule, Nigeria rejects coup and to Nigeria, the federal government will sponsor terrorism, around and stay on that. Keep it delivery. 3% of the headline of lobby to shift that's the I would not interested the House of Assembly election that's the House
Next question. Friday's session. Rejecting state the right say escort to raise office won't recognize still conducting Mohammed loyalists and factions as news series Nigeria lose major investors to oil theft on page 20. Sorry, the school. School reason every capital and 3 by 12 missing as a result of explosion. Zoom to terrorist. Sorry, 12. I have a paper here. In side, this is a newspaper. Well, this story they are in a system that the ministry confirms in this convention and the story but kingmakers distraction and sorry it's just that today many break in our school case something now news and
the economy the EU, the United Nations are building the region to be about 9 cities of investment. Although 8 also distribution like West Roy affected 49,000 and about 49,907 gradually of graduate of and adoption is due to the government however this committee been successfully settled not as many affect this province need says they are capable and they are growing number. He said most to defeat federal prosecute the ongoing war against security. The government no but which is the capacity is it called support very to people allow to read which headquarters in or I'm visiting the theater of as well as the troops there operate commitment against terrorism.
Noted. But I would say that constant, and therefore master was played out in that country. We see each one recruiting members. We were told that those who were abandoned or not they and then having sorties and designating around. There is adherence and non-adherence. And the is what appears to be better for us who can which I think if another time providing much pass for each one with
but let's say the federal government announced and development of financial life, they will uncover the financial they are soon to exchange for from of the judiciary, the super policy, and he also to join
we conclude people have earlier there was a story about from President Obasanjo some assets. He still that 3 of those assets have been arrested and some of them to the other he would live that he would replant the bank and ultimately use the processing factor. But
about the war,
Thank you for now. Meet your bounce. Unexpected victories.
Candidate a television jobs for 2020 to apply for to more information television college job or any registrar. The first the forest of and security personnel who are tirelessly while maintaining all our and was fighting so your correct. Bless the armed forces. God bless you. The Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
That the last war of the century actually very high of the country. The president said we want
So good morning, position of the account the government chief election and also be head of council and the business respond to
CFR, the and man who served as head of state of August 1993 to his political career showed and effective the African company of Nigeria was the largest African company was one of children born of an better on civil state the transnational to a legally scheduled connected August 93 signed from the agreement of the elections. He decree international government by Chief Ernest Shonekan
was professional
hampered by national strike government by Lagos State courts. The head of state by the regime of President Ibrahim 3 months until he was by General Sangabade. In 1994, he the tank led of Nigerian
have this meeting with them was an
since left office to opposition of the statesman all the heads of Nigerian age of state
as former interim head of state. To our conversation for this morning. And let me just begin interesting now to discuss the types of state right wouldn't here does also is familiar face of the he had been head of the National Council, also wife to the of while Bangladesh, but the
my dear Senator, we are at the University of Chairman we were part of it. Because right was the you should and I didn't work with it. But when it came in, I was appointed. I was trying to put before the city government moved to Abuja on December 12, 1990. Chief Shonekan, when he was going to Lagos from Abuja, he came with regards to the economy and that's he was to Lagos. Then I thought I saw there. I were transmitting them. To him that he was to him that you tell and thing. Yeah. How as chairman as by the complete gentleman. In fact, I was a bit because of the politics, governance, kind of, you know, science was very blunt. It don't play politics why one organization to get government funding. Look, your services right so one or you know because at that Nigeria and facilities still had you I'm talking about exactly. So they were dejected that they couldn't collect the government funding but they okay because I found this about it was I don't made you decide to well the thing is you to be my practice look this person is like tips that's okay is the head of president of Nigeria. You know that's a great you know so you can just so that you then or
But my in February 1993, we had first the interim government. But Mandela would September 97, the
I if you're okay, and it will come to you. So, directly
is to Nigeria. When see back to the south, of what were Nigerians told you you will see some clear I found myself in the call from require them to take out he felt if you the background of the market was not no, how many even neither do you see of the was there. So we had already family people on instances we asked them but
today I about, I don't know, I think in secondary school. So like this, and of course you have to say about what feelings did you even feel whichever
as I was university and the right of labor was in Nigeria, and for the across the yes of my of Shonekan was at a very doctor. How do I mean? Asset was denied in this man. Very provincial. Never taken but the between that you should have taken is you know this victory. But I wasn't it wasn't second. It was looking how he government it's just for assist to him for 1993. So gentleman, of business conglomerate, all these snacks, the current ones. Used to go the traffic. That was a quick snack. You know, but military have been the transition. I believe that I could see after he was betrayed by which is it tells you that it was he worked and he was you want to use to pray is either business or it was long where used to have interest that's one of as if see I to continue from your
thing I would also like to highlight what is between at least they enjoy a relationship. For one moment, ambition in life is a greater comfort. And that was what he offered implementation and Shonekan us very, very well. So the only thing we see, I think Nigeria owed a lot to that person. And he had friends in both South and the North. And one day I asked him a question. How did he come to know these people? And he said that in the course of his work, he related with them and they became his personal friends. There are so many people that took him as a friend, so many people that took him as a father.
We hope we'll get back connectivity with you and return to you to conclude your thoughts. That's Senator Ida. But let's bring in Professor Pat Utami, who's also joining us. Kingsley had earlier asked you to share your memories of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan. Also, give us some of the values you have of him, in your contact with him.
Thanks so very much. There are two perspectives I'd like to offer, especially because we don't do a very good job of capturing history in our country. I think I have a duty to talk about these perspectives. One is from enterprise. The other is from the relationship between the public and private sector in making Nigeria work. Let me start from enterprise. Chief Shonekan, he led a conglomerate at a time of transition. Now, people don't recognize sometimes how challenging that can be. The USC Group was an organization that built strength from resources that were available to it in a time when essentially an import substitution strategy was being adopted by the country. That meant that if you had the resources and you had might, you could hide behind tariff barriers to build businesses. And the USC Group expanded rapidly based on that model. Then there was a challenge of access to foreign exchange, and organizations had to become more focused. Chief Shonekan began the process of transition from being a diversified conglomerate to more focused organization for the USC Group. That was when USC Foods, which has been referred to in this conversation, became a very critical part of the thrust of USC. USC Foods, USC Properties, from a time when USC was in everything, tractor and equipment, office equipment, all of those, began a process of shifting, which happens to enterprises. And it's not the easiest time to manage a company. And he managed the USC Group at that time of major transition. That's on the corporate side. And I think I owe it as a teacher of business to speak to that very important aspect. Because in this kind of situation, what tends to happen is that this kind of conglomerate is patching the roof here, patching the roof there, and goes into a retreat, what I like to call corporate surrender. But I think that Chief Shonekan managed that transition quite well. I was privileged, by the way, to work with him. He was on the very first board of the Lagos Business School. And in those early days, as their companies struggled, they gave their bit to trying to set up an institution like the Lagos Business School to facilitate the training of managers. But let me come to the government. I heard an earlier, I think Mr. Joe was talking about how he set up the Economic Summit Group. That is also a very important part of our history that is misunderstood because even the NESG had to rebuke the Director General for not having enough of the history. How did the NESG come about, or this relationship? Back in 1985, the Aga Khan Foundation
Professor Tommy, you will have to exercise a great deal of patience with us. So we see that you're probably also on the move, and so that's affecting your Zoom connection. So when we get back to you, you will take off from the narrative you were giving about Chief Shonekan's role in the formation of the NSG. But if you are back right now, we can take you. All right, so let's come back to our studios. Shola Tere, this is getting more interesting in terms of the many parts of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan. What more would you like our viewers to know about him?
Well, a lot had been said about him, you know. One thing you cannot remove from him is seriousness, you know, in approach to business, and which translated into his role even in government. He was very focused and very determined. And for Chief Shonekan to have come back after being overthrown by Abacha's regime, to have come back, to come and serve in the economic, in forging a strong economic policy, you know, for the government and invariably the country, says a lot about his personality. That the man was not a selfish person, you understand. You know, he's not provincial. He wasn't provincial, you know, otherwise, and he wasn't harboring hatred against anybody. He comes across like somebody who has a plain mind, you know, just trying to ensure that things work well, just trying to ensure that, you know, the economy of the, because whatever we do, even the political system, if we don't have a strong economic base, we are just joking. You understand? He was much more concerned about a strong economic base for Nigeria. That was why he was able to come back and work even with the Abacha government that overthrew him. In the office, you will discover that Chief Shonekan, maybe because of his private sector experience, he was very, very accountable. And he never believed in over-bloated, you know, not that he was sacking people, not that he intended sacking people. There was nothing of such a discussion because we were his personal aides, you know. But he just believed that once 6 people are doing a job, you know, the usual thing in the Nigerian governance is, you know, a job that 6 people could do. They may, for political reasons, bring 10, 15 people to do it. So once you have 6 people doing a particular job and they are doing it effectively, he doesn't mind, you know, those people doing it and for them to be well remunerated, you know, encouraging them. And he was a very hard worker in the sense that he worked throughout the clock. You know, those of us working with him, we knew how our energies were being sapped. You know, we worked very late into the night most of the time. Very hard working and always cool temperament. You know, you cannot harass him. He doesn't feel harassed. He doesn't feel depressed or anything like that. So he was able to achieve a lot within the little time that he was head of interim national government and the period I worked with him as the head of state, you know.
You know, just to say a word or two about your last sentence. I know that someone wrote, you know, tributes about the late Chief Ernest Shonekan, Ifeanyi Mbanefo, and this is what he had to say. He said, "No other Nigerian had so entirely borne the anger of his people with equanimity. And no other Nigerian leader has borne deliberate and massive misinformation against him without flinching. And it just goes to support what you said.
Yes, because you see, Chief Shonekan, I always tell people, he came to make a sacrifice, just as Jide and Ben alluded to initially.
So let's pause you a while. We understand that our correspondent Abolade Salami is ready, to give us information. Abolade is joining us live from the venue of the line-in state of the former interim head of state. Abolade, over to you.
Thank you so much, Claire. I'm live at the residence of the former interim head of government, that's Chief Ernest Shonekan, in preparation for the line-in state. Here at his residence, we have presence of dignitaries. Just a few minutes ago, former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, came in. He's right inside the building to pay also his last respect to Chief Ernest Shonekan. We have so many dignitaries that are inside paying their last respect. And we also have here in his residence here in Ikoyi, we have senior military officers who are also here and the live band from the military, just to ensure that everybody that are here are coming to pay their last respect for the late Nigeria's head of interim government, Chief Ernest Shonekan.
Go ahead.
All right, Abolade Salami, let us have a sense of how long the line-in state would last and thereafter what happens.
All right, it is expected to last for 2 hours from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And we're told that when that finishes here, they're going to move the body of late Chief Ernest Shonekan to the Ikoyi vaults, that is the Ebony vaults, and they are here on standby to move his corpse when it's exactly 9 a.m. That's the information the families give to us.
Abolade, also talk to us about the solemn music in the background. We hear that, and where the line-in state is actually taking place.
Yes, like I said earlier on, we have the military band here that they are here to just give us cool rendition to make sure that guests that are here to pay their last respects are going in, and we have here also seated top senior military officers that are also here to pay their last respect to Chief Ernest Shonekan. While the condolence register is also open for those that are coming in. We had this just a few minutes ago, General Yakubu Gowon, before going in to see the corpse of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan. He had to also write down little things that he can express for the former Nigeria's interim head of government, that is Chief Ernest Shonekan. Dignitaries are pouring in, while some are leaving, some are going in. But the military band are here just to give us full rendition to ensure that the environment is calm, and while everybody are here in sober reflection of the deaths of late Ernest Shonekan.
All right, correspondent Abolade Salami joining us from the Ikoyi residence of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan. Thank you very much. Probably we'll get back to you before we wrap up Good Morning Nigeria today. Once again, we appreciate your reporting live from the residence where Chief Ernest Shonekan is lying in state. So back to our studios and hopefully also to our two guests with us via Zoom. We'll continue our conversation on the life and times of Chief Ernest Shonekan. Well, how does one probably understand this? Is it a Nigerian thing, for instance, that once you step into the waters of politics, your performance or perceived performance in that terrain oftentimes becomes the way you are evaluated? Because sometimes when you read some commentators, reviewing the life and times, I read one acerbic and sometimes misleading opinion piece the other day. One was in two parts. People don't seem to remember Ernest Shonekan for who he was before stepping into government for 11 months and thereafter who he became. Ben Shamag, I mean, you are in the public arena. Why do we tend to have this tendency?
Yeah, you see, once a man or woman throws the heart in the ring, it's like you've surrendered your rights, you've surrendered your privacy, and you have also said you want to serve. Therefore, there has to be a scale in which you have to be measured. And that measurement, of course, you score either an A or you fail, depending on what side or who is grading you. But we do know, yes, there could be people who would always say, Shonekan failed. How? How will you, as an Igbaman, receive wrongly what belonged to an Igbaman rightly? Talking of Shonekan versus Abiola. But again, if you look at the position of Shonekan, you actually know that he was indeed a man that should be put on a proper scale, give him his rightful place. There has to be a niche created for this man. What do I mean? I mean, a man came on board when Nigeria was just almost rather collapsing, and to stabilize a place. In terms of what you call a stable polity, you could see that he was never a man outside government who would trouble any sitting government. Every Council of State meeting, he was always there to proffer solutions, how Nigeria would move forward. People would have thought that he would have nothing to do with Abacha, but there he was. And I want to tell you, in Dodan Barracks, even when Abacha was Secretary of Defense, people would come to say, look, remove this Shonekan. Nigeria will be worse than Bosnia and Herzegovina put together. So there were people that prompted Abacha to overthrow this man who indeed meant well for this country. So if people, Kingsley, begin to say, no, the man did not perform very well, I tell you, under the turbulent environment, Shonekan did the best he could do for Nigeria. He never gave up, and up to the point of his death, he believed in this oneness of this country called Nigeria. So when people write their history, of course, we have to bear in mind that history at a point is subjective, depending on who is writing from what angle. So Shonekan was it.
All right. Jide, in your earlier remarks, you made a statement and you asked a question and invariably answered it somewhat. But I'm returning to you because you said you didn't know why Chief Shonekan was chosen or why he accepted, the offer to head the government at the time. It's a basis for questions that have been raised, whether he actually understood, the politics at the time.
Well, Claire, Shonekan obviously wasn't a politician. From all that we have heard and read about his life and times, he was a technocrat. He was a lawyer. He was, a lawyer, a private sector person, a business guru, a boardroom, player. And of course, there is an element of politics in boardrooms too, but not on the scale of when you are serving a country. And I wouldn't know. I think there was an article, there was a news report about IBB saying why I chose Shonekan, but I didn't get to read it. I just saw the headline. Maybe he would have been in a better position to say exactly what they saw that made him bring him to head the transition committee. But I'm only saying the man should be commended for accepting to serve. I was just putting out what majority of the Yorubas felt about his accepting to serve as the head of interim administration. You heard what Chief Abiola said as an Egbaman, and of course, we also know how, you know, it is said in local parlance that Egba meji o kin jara won yiyan. That means two Egba people don't argue with each other. But on this scale, we saw arguments between Abiola and Shonekan, and between Shonekan, Abiola, and Obasanjo. You know, but it's allowed. One thing I think we also need to flag was the attempt. One, Shonekan released political prisoners who were incarcerated by the military when he became head of government. He also attempted to review 3 draconian decrees that was promulgated by the military. He didn't succeed, but he did make attempt to have those draconian decrees, reviewed. And of course, he made a lot of effort at uniting the country. Like has been pointed out, somebody who was ignominiously removed from government, some other people will say, never again will I have anything to do with these people. We know those who have absented themselves from the Council of State meeting ever since they left office, or sparingly attend. But this man will still come. He said he was chairman of Vision 2010. He was also very instrumental in setting up the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. These are legacies that I think we should benchmark his personality against. Not exactly the 90-something days he served as head of interim government, or the 11 months, as Kingsley put it, that he served in government, so to speak. But the man lived 85 years. For me, he's an accomplished personality. He lived his dream. He was one of 6 children. Nobody else heard of who the other 5 children were. But here, he is a man of destiny. His name resonates. For whatever reason, he rose through the ranks in a business conglomerate, became the chairman of that business conglomerate, and also destiny threw him into governance as head of government. And he did his bit, whether he succeeded. But it has also been said that part of the reason why he couldn't achieve much while he was head of interim administration was that he was placed under the military. He wasn't fully independent to exercise the full paraphernalia of office, because he still has to technically report to the junta who appointed him, which was why it was easy for General Sani Abacha to just shut the door against him and said he's been removed.
Okay, Jide Ojo and the other guests, thank you very much. We're going to have to take a short break, but while we are still on the subject of Chief Shonekan's foray into politics, it will be useful to provide some further background as to how, not necessarily why, Chief Shonekan got into government. General Ibrahim Babangida had a political transition program after he came into office, shunting aside General Muhammadu Buhari in August 1985. He had a transition program starting off with the setting up of the political bureau. And the initial impression was that he was going to hand over in 1990. That date was then shifted to 1992. Now, at the beginning of 1992, the country had a diarchical arrangement. In other words, you had both the military and civilians in power. You had elected officials at the state level. You had civilian state governors, deputies who were also civilians, and you had state houses of assembly. And then at the national level, you had the National Assembly, Senate, and President. That's how Iyorchia Ayu became Senate President. Now, when you had that arrangement, there was also a decree that constrained the jurisdiction or the powers of the National Assembly, the so-called no-go areas on which they could not pass laws. Now, the transition continued, and you were supposed to then have elections for the presidency, because that was the only office that was left. But you had primaries that were cancelled. Jakonde, Yaradua participated. They were all cancelled. Persons were disqualified. And then the goalpost was then shifted from 1992 for transition to 1993. There was a lot of tension in the country at the time. So how do you mollify politicians? How do you reassure Nigerians that this transition will be okay? Do you get an apolitical person to come and then be in office? That's how Shonekan got his name tapped to become chairman of the Transition Council in January 1993. And then we'll continue the story from there after this short break.
To the right. Mila, you go to the left. Just gotta do it.
Thank you for the rejections. That taught me to keep striving. Thank you for the long hours. That taught me discipline. Thank you for the knockdowns. That taught me to bounce back. And for the unexpected victories, that taught me to never give up.
Please welcome Ntalive.
Thank you for making me who I am.
The Digital Switchover project, which is commonly referred to as DSO, which entails television channels switching from analog to digital broadcasting, is one of the biggest projects embarked upon by this administration. Branded as Free TV, offers its viewers about 60 digital channels, including sports, music, movies, and news. The federal government has licensed about 23 set-top box manufacturers. 7 of them have self-production, employing several thousands of people. We've made it now compulsory for all stations in Nigeria to only broadcast productions made in Nigeria for products which are produced in Nigeria.
We are all Nigerians. Against all odds, we shall and must remain united. We may have our challenges, our problems, and setbacks. However, together we shall overcome them all. What doesn't break us shall make us stronger. This is the mindset that shall bring peace, progress, and prosperity to our beloved country. Do not let tribal and religious sentiments govern how you think, act, or feel. Don't be influenced by those who want to destroy our precious national unity. Everybody who is a Nigerian is your brother and your sister. This is the mindset of the new Nigeria. It is also the mindset that we must all adopt. Let us support each other in creating the Nigeria of our dreams. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Program for His Excellency late Chief Ernest Shonekan, GCFR, CBE, former head of state, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Christian Week and Night of Tributes. Date Thursday, 3rd February 2022. Time 4 p.m. Venue The Harbour Point Event Center, Wilmot Point, Victoria Island, Lagos. State. Date Friday, 4th February 2022. Time 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Venue Lugat House, number 1 Lugat Avenue, Ikoyi, Lagos. Funeral service. Date Friday, 4th February 2022. Time 11 a.m. Venue the Cathedral Church of Christ, Marina, Lagos. Interment and Parade of Honor. Date Friday, 4th February 2022. Time immediately after the funeral service. Venue the Ebony Vault and Gardens, Ikoyi, Lagos. May his gentle soul rest in peace.
Announcer, Boss Mustafa, Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Just a brief scene from the line in state. We'll return to Abolade Salami as soon as we establish contact with him. But back here to continue our conversation, Senator Ida is waiting. Please kindly, we do apologize for the interruptions in our Zoom connection. We hope this time around it will be smooth. But please continue your contributions and take with it. I had asked the question, if the Chief Ernest Shonekan understood the political dynamics at the time in the Southwest, before accepting the offer to become interim head of state.
Yeah, first of all, I want to make a correction. I have seen that even the media is making a mistake of referring to Chief Shonekan as the head of the interim government. Now, Chief Shonekan served this country in two capacities. He was head of the interim government up to the time that President Babangida stepped aside. From that time on, he became. So to refer to him as head of it at one time, but by the time he left, he was the head of state, both de facto and de jure, even if the workings in did not allow him to operate well, but he was the head of state. So I think it's even the media, it is a mistake to be referring to him now as the former head of interim government. He headed it before. That is one. Secondly, Economic Summit as group was actually started in 1993 when he came in as the head of the interim government. And then the country was really sliding. The two very important economic variables, interest rate, exchange rate, were going down. And he came in and then brought in the private sector to join the public sector to find a way forward. And that was the commencement of the Economic Summit in February 1993. Now, to get back to what he was, apart from being a decent human being, a man of the people, he also had humility in him, and also the ability to, if to use this Nigerian term, I think to me he was really a detribalized Nigerian, because his best friends and confidants were not the Yoruba people, at least the way I saw it. He may have his relations. And one thing he told me that really, I asked him, when UAC was divesting, why was it that you were always selling the properties to the people of the environment? For instance, all the properties of UAC in Kaduna and Kano were sold to the people from the north. He said that it will be a disservice to humanity for him to bring somebody from elsewhere. Now, I have said this to show you the type of person he was. But let me also say this. You see, when we had the Vision 2010 program from 1996 to 1997, everybody thought that it was an Abacha agenda. That is absolutely false. From the period, Chief Shonekan never for one moment accepted to go to the villa to be directed or to accept any brief. So he was a very pious person. And because of his long relationship with the private sector and the public sector, he was able to really drive the terrain in such a way that everybody was satisfied. And I can say this with sincerity and deep conviction. 70% of what happened at the Vision 2010 program was Chief Shonekan's doing, in terms of the arrangement, in terms of the guidance, and in terms of settling of disputes when they arose. Now, another thing was this. I can say Abacha held him, whatever their previous relationship, Abacha held him on a very, very high esteem. because he never allowed anybody, and I could cite example, to either look down on or talk down on Chief Shonekan. And even when he left the scene, he was very mindful of his role as a national leader, because I remember that in 2006, he was in Tokyo, and the governor of Katsina State, the late President Eradua, requested me to get Chief Shonekan to come and declare open a Katsina State Economic Summit. He was in Tokyo, but he came down all the way. He finished and he went back. Now, to show you that his commitment was not either to a section of Nigeria or to a tribe of Nigeria or to a part of Nigeria, but to all Nigeria. To him, the whole Nigeria was a home. So really, in the loss of Chief Shonekan, Nigeria has lost a leader, a guide, one who was prepared to sacrifice everything. And I can say this, by the time we are doing the Vision 2010, he was confiding in me that contrary to what people will think, he was never settled. There was a rumor that he was, when he left, he was settled, given some money. He told me very clearly that it was a lie being propagated by his political enemies to tarnish his name. He was a humble man of humble means who was in a position to make all the monies in the world. But I can say this, to the best of my knowledge and to the best of what he told me and what I observed, he was a person...
Abolade Salami, who is in Lagos, is right now with former head of state General Yakubu Gowon, who has paid his last respects to the late Ede Shonekan at the Ikoyi residence. Abolade, our correspondent, you have General Gowon. Increase the volume, cameraman. You have.
Hello, sir.
Like, again, we are having some technical issues. We'll sort that out and then return to... okay, General Gowon is right on now with our correspondent on the right side of the screen.
Really, the nation has lost a great patriot. The nation has lost someone who had lived an exceptionally good and fruitful life. The death of Chief Ernest Shonekan is certainly a loss that the nation can ill afford at the moment. I knew him. He was working with the UAC in those days, and he did all his, he did exceptionally well, and of course, later on, became even the head of the UAC. But I know him more closely when the Lord called on him, when he was called upon to look to take care of the nation at a most difficult time. And he was vilified, unfortunately vilified, for having to do something that someone had to do it. And I think it is God that said that he is the one to do that job. And he did it exceptionally well. And he had to leave it unceremoniously. But I think he left with his head high, and a noble thing. And he did something for the nation, and ensured the nation at least continued. And of course, we work closely in the Council of States, and his contribution has been exceptionally great. And I would like to say that the nation must honor him as a patriot, as someone who did exceptionally well for the nation. And myself, my wife, we are here to, to condole the family and to join in the worship to see him off. And we wish him, may God grant him peace. May God grant his soul everlasting rest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. That's it. You just heard from the former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, who is also here to condole the family of late Chief Ernest Shonekan. It's back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you very much, Abolade, for that interview. General Yakubu Gowon is on record as Nigeria's youngest head of state. He was head of state from 1966 until 1975. Now, back to the life and times of Chief Shonekan. Senator Ibrahim Ida sought to make some corrections and maybe we'll make further amendments or clarifications or re-emphasis. One, we did say at the beginning that Chief Ernest Shonekan was chairman of the Transitional Council. He was appointed in January 1993, and it wasn't until August 26th of 1993 that he then became head of the interim national government. Now, as chairman of the Transitional Council, he was head of government, while President Ibrahim Babangida, military president, remained head of state. Now, as head of interim national government, after Babangida stepped aside on the 26th, Shonekan combined the two positions, namely head of state and head of government. But, I say but, there were concerns considering some of the provisions in the decree setting up the interim national government. And I do recall, because at the time I was editor of The Guardian on Sunday, there was a lead story we published. In fact, I was the author of that story. Questions persist on who is C in C, who is the commander-in-chief. Now, because there were murmurs as to the role of Abacha, who was Minister of Defense and Chief of Defense Staff, as to whether he was superior to the head of the NG. And a statement was eventually issued clarifying the position that there was no dispute whatsoever that Chief Shonekan was head of government, head of state, and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic. Right. Now, further down, the matter went to court. There were some persons who challenged the legality of the ING, and the court ruled that the ING was illegal, which was one of the reasons Abacha gave in the school speech of November 17th. But later on, a decree was issued reversing that court judgment, which was why Ernest Shonekan can still be referred to today as the former head of state. Claire.
All right, Kingsley, in fact, thank you for the clarification, and I do hope that Senator Ida has also taken notes. But my question, and it will probably be the last question, and I'm going to ask Mr. Terra here. We've all talked about glowingly about the life and times of late Chief Ernest Shonekan, and we heard from the former military head of state Yakubu Gowon as well. But my question is, how did all that he did impact on the grassroots people? The grassroots people. Grassroots.
Well, the truth is, he was more or less, interim. He didn't have enough time, to really impact on the people generally, because as all the others have contributed, including Kingsley, there was tension in the land. And he made a sacrifice. In fact, it takes somebody with guts and to be able to make such a sacrifice, because the tension was so much. And people need to appreciate that about the man. And the fact that if he had been a provincial person, he wouldn't have taken up the appointment. So he was looking at the global picture as a nationalist, to make sure that his country is at peace. Because if there's no peace, we are all joking about development. If he had been allowed, to stay at least even for an additional 1 year, the impact on the common people would have, well, you can even say that he was able to impact on the common people in the sense that despite the fact that people were engineering discontent, to brand the government as not being capable or whatever, there was some level of peace, much more better than what it was, immediately after the annulment. And that's an impact. He was already, trying to forge economic policies, that will make the people, to reap the benefits of the economic policy and have it. And mark you, I was a personal aide just as others. And we met, and this man was already preparing, a template for a full democratic governance. Not that he was interested in becoming an elected, because, he wasn't a politician, so how could he have even stood for election? So bringing peace to the people and even trying to forge a program, economic program that will make the people to be able to make their livelihood without any hindrance. Those are the impact,
All right.
The fact that he looked at Nigeria as his constituency.
All right.
That has been his life anyway.
All right. Shola, Tere, and all the other guests, time flies so fast. We'd like to appreciate your being with us today as we have looked at the life and times of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan. Shola Tere, former Executive Director News of the Nigerian Television Authority, former spokesperson to Chief Shonekan, and also former State House correspondent. Deep thanks for being around. Ben Shimang, current Director of News, Voice of Nigeria, also former State House correspondent at Dodon Barracks and also at Aso Villa. Jide Ojo, regular on Good Morning Nigeria, public affairs analyst. Thanks a lot for your perspectives. And Senator Ibrahim Ida Sadauna Kasida, we appreciate you for being with us. We have to apologize to both your good self and Professor Pat Utomi for the glitches that we had in your Zoom connection. Our program, of course, wraps up at 9 o'clock. We do hope that there will be some other opportunity. Professor Pat Utomi, you keep your gunpowder dry. You still had a lot to say about the enterprise side of the late Chief Ernest Shonekan, and of course, the interface of public and private sectors. Pat Utomi, Professor of Political Economy and Management expert, deep appreciation for being with us on Good Morning Nigeria today. So that's it on the program. Thanks. We're back on Monday, same time, 7 o'clock in the morning. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
I'm Claire Adilabu Abdul Razak. The fight against rape and rapists is still on. We do enjoy you to join us. Bye-bye.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize.
This is the network service of the NTA.
At 1.41 Libyan dinar, the Libyan currency is the strongest in Africa. On the other hand, and dancing within the 570 to 575 naira to the dollar range, the Nigerian naira is far from 10 of Africa's strongest currencies. Yet, you recall that at some point in our history, the naira was going from 1 naira to $2. So what happened? And then again, what makes a country's currency weak or strong? Well, this will be the focus on our episode today, along with our usual menu for you. I am Christopher Ntalive, and this is Forex Matters. Do not go away. I'll be right back with you after this timeout. Welcome back. Without much ado, let's see some developments in the economy.
Euro slides as Austria's fourth national COVID-19 lockdown begins. Dollar edges higher, Fed minutes, Chairman Choice in focus. The euro to the United States dollar price may decline further in case bears maintain their momentum. Euro crashes against sterling as BOE and ECB divergence widens. Germany's Bundesbank German inflation just below 6% this month. British pound outlook, euro and British pound sterling clinging on to multi-month support. The dollar remains solid as euro suffers on growing concerns about Europe's COVID situation. The British pound sterling versus the Australian dollar rooftop pattern in daily TF shorts are coming with momentum. Gold pressured by a stronger dollar and faster Fed taper bets. The Naira gains at official market despite significant drop in Forex liquidity. And the Naira maintains stability at official market as Forex turnover surged by over 300%.
Foreign exchange, hard currencies, dollar, pound sterling, euro, Dutch marks, French francs, and so on. It is all about Forex. It is the denominator that lubricates the economy as well as your life. International trade is run by it. Our national economy is dependent on it. As a manufacturer, it is what you need to bring your materials from overseas. And as a parent, it is what you need to send your children to school abroad. And for critical medical treatment, Forex is what you need to get that hospital outside Nigeria. So you need to know how it's faring in the market, how and where you can get it through the banks and the BDCs. Forex Matters will bring to you information on developments in the Forex market and how the community is responding, just to make it good for you. Forex Matters, your monitor on Forex developments.
This is Forex Matters, and if you're just joining me, you're on time to see us discuss, issues concerning the factors that make a country's currency weak or strong. I will be having with me in the house later Professor Diversifying a lecturer, President of Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, APCON, Dr. Aminu Buadabe, Falashade Aliu, a consultant in the oil industry. And we have Semiya Ado, a lawyer and a sales executive. All of these people will be shedding light on, factors that make a country's currency weak or strong. But before we zoom in on the matter, here's a report to guide us.
Africa's economy, just like the rest of the world, has continued to lag behind due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. 33 in Africa, some currencies within the continent have grown weaker compared to the United States dollar or the pound. The poor living standards and a dwindling national economy have been the major contributing factors to the crippling currencies. According to the International Monetary Fund, accounting for 60% of the transactions worldwide, the United States currency has been a predominant currency in the globe. Here are the top 10 strongest African currencies compared to the United States dollar. Number 1, the Libyan dinar. The Libyan dinar has maintained its solid position for quite many years as the strongest currency as compared to the dollar. Despite the ongoing conflict after the toppling of the longtime ruler Muammar Gaddafi, the North African country has maintained a low turnover of its currency to the United States dollar. At the number 2 spot is the Tunisian dinar. Another North African country is on spot for taking up position 2. Despite the recent COVID-19 demonstrations and a struggling economy, Tunisia has shown quite some resistance to the United States dollar. Tunisia also enjoys very formidable import and export policies, with its conversions being static and cautioned through its stiff regulations. And number 3 is the Ghanaian cedi. The Ghanaian currency is the leading within the sub-Saharan Africa, but still appears in position 3 after Libya's dinar and Tunisia's dinar. Touted as the beacon of democracy in Africa, the Ghanaian cedi enjoys a greater GDP per capita, which is the largest in West Africa. At the number 4 spot is the Moroccan dirham. Morocco has in many years pegged its currency at 60% to the euro and 40% to the United States dollar. Morocco also enjoys doing direct trade with various European nations, giving its closeness to Europe. At number 5 is the Botswana pula. The strength of the pula is a result of the country's exemplary economy and political structure. Number 6 is the Zambian kwacha. Zambia is the leading copper producer in Africa, and its currency largely depends on global copper prices. At the number 7 spot is the Seychelles rupee. Described as a haven of luxury tourism, Seychelles has a very strict monetary policy that has seen its currency strengthened. With its low population of over 100,000 people have also played part in boosting its GDP. At the 8th position is the South African rand. Africa's leading gold producer, South Africa heavily relies on the commodity to boost its economy. Other Southern African countries like Malawi even peg their economies to the rand. At number 9 is the Eritrean nakfa. The North African country has a fixed exchange rate that protects its currency from devaluation. This has also been boosted when recently amended ties with its former bitter rival Ethiopia, opening up trade between the two countries. And at the number 10 spot is the Egyptian pound. Egypt has implemented a series of tough economic measures, including devaluing the pound, slashing energy subsidies, and introducing a value-added tax to help meet conditions of a $12 billion IMF loan. Despite this, the state introduced interest rates to attract domestic and foreign investments. This has seen its currency steady over time.
Well, as you've seen for yourself, the Naira is nowhere near any of the 10 strong currencies in Africa. But then you want to know, what are the factors that are contributory to the depreciation of the Naira? Now, to shed some light on the issue and give us a pragmatic view, of what it's all about, we have, as I've told you earlier, experts, operators, and end users. Well, the first on that list is a globally acclaimed economist. Ndubuisi Ifeanyi Nwokoma is a professor of financial economy, University of Lagos, UNILAG, and also a director, Center for Economic Policy Analysis and Research, CEPA, also in UNILAG. He says that the management of fiscal policy is critical, is in fact a critical factor in the strengthening or the weakening of the naira.
The fiscal policy management, in my opinion, has not been optimal in the past many years. It has not been optimal in the sense that currently we have about 15 or so trillion naira that central bank has given out a loan, ways and means to the fiscal authorities. So in other words, we have not had in the past 5-6 years a very well functioning budget system. The federal budget has not been functioning very well. Government has not managed its federal budget efficiently in the past 6 years. And they've always been filling the gap by going to central bank. They'll give them loan. Apart from the debt managed by debt management of the DMO, he's talking about ways and means. You go to central bank, at times they may even have to print money to do that.
The SEPA director says, under the leadership of the current CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, the nation's apex bank has always managed to come to the aid of the federal government.
So a number of times you have a budget that is not functional. Even this current one that is, well, to me, it has a lot of problems because we are talking about 16 trillion budget. How much, what is the cash backing? And where are you going to get the money? You want to see borrow more and put the country in some serious problem, not only for now, but for the future. Because if you look at debt service payment to revenue, it's about 90%, which means for every 100 naira you earn, you use about 90 naira of that 100 to pay for debt of yesterday. Servicing, not as even the principal. So when you talk about that, the federal system, the fiscal authorities have not been able to manage the budget very, very well. They always go to central bank for accommodation. They only go for accommodation. So central bank has actually been the savior of this current government.
On the way forward, the professor of financial economics has some solutions, that may actually, if implemented, strengthen the naira.
Government, central banks must come in, make sure, one, they minimize political interference in the market. They try to make sure that those that really need this forex are those that actually get it. Demand management is very important. Manage demand through the political channel. And those that need it are those that get it. Then when people that need it, even if you want to import rice, you can go to buy through the parallel market. And then we make sure government discourages them, like we say, put appropriate taxation through tariff, and then that would, but these are not done. And when this is not done, it encourages the boom in that market and the gap. But the major area, in my own opinion, is with the political interference.
Even though the BDCs are large in number, the professor of financial economics says there are some positive values the government can, explore using the BDCs to shore up the naira.
Ease of acquiring foreign exchange is a positive. You don't need a lot of the bureaucracy. It's easy. So if you want something, you get it. You don't need to. And for business, time is money. Just like they said, the speed of getting access is there, and then I think that basically is because it is meant to bring in access to the ordinary person. That is basically road to show. You want to travel, you approach them. You can even buy it at the airport. You are there at the airport. You don't have foreign exchange. While you are with your ticket, and so you can just show the document at the same spot. You get your foreign exchange, or vice versa. You are buying or you are selling. But banks will take time. They have a lot of more cumbersome process. So I think in terms of the BDCs, they make life easier for you.
Foreign exchange, hard currencies, dollar, pound sterling, euro, Dutch marks, French francs, and so on. It is all about Forex. It is the denominator that lubricates the economy as well as your life. International trade is run by it. Our national economy is dependent on it. As a manufacturer, it is what you need to bring your materials from overseas. And as a parent, it is what you need to send your children to school abroad. And for critical medical treatment, Forex is what you need to get that hospital outside Nigeria. So you need to know how it's faring in the market, how and where you can get it through the banks and the BDCs. Forex Matters will bring to you information on developments in the Forex market and how the community is responding, just to make it good for you. Forex Matters, your monitor on Forex developments.
Folashade Aliu is an oil and gas management consultant. She speaks about the role the Nigerian politicians play in the battering of the nation's currency.
You understand that politics 2023 is around the corner. How can you be dishing out dollars and pounds in Nigeria? You understand? Because you're a politician. It doesn't make sense. That's the dollars and pounds that manufacturers are supposed to use to manufacture goods and hire people.
She believes the BDCs can be used as a tool to advance the cause of the naira.
That association should be a tool, a progressive tool for the government, for our foreign exchange regimes, for the central bank, for the business community, for global best practices, and the rest of it.
If she had a way, moderation of the exchange rates as a means of mediating the forex prices would be the way to go.
So in order to create a balance or a leverage, like I told you, the Bureau de Change has a role to play. I'm not saying they should be totally neglected. And what's the role? The role is that they can provide accessibility and flexibility. I can buy foreign exchange anytime. So that's the reason why I will quickly reassess those licenses. I will quickly call them to a workshop or a training. And then simultaneously, I will get the department that is responsible to begin to sensitize the public, particularly the business community. By the time you do all of these three together, you'll find that gradually you will be seeing that the chart is adjusting itself.
Semi Ado is a lawyer and a sales executive. You know, she's one of those Nigerians whose services are directly impacted by the current policy state of play in the Forex subsector.
Currently, the Forex world in Nigeria is going down the hill. When it comes to the black markets and the Bureau de Change markets is going down the hill. As at the aspects of the government where it has been introduced that only the banks are meant to give out foreign currency. And right now, for we individuals, it has delayed us for certain transactions we want to do and certain payments we want to do. For instance, payments of school fees for people. When you come here, normally when I come here for certain transactions, I'm being helped to make the transactions faster, and instantly whoever I'm transferring money to gets the money instantly. But currently now with the banks, you have to queue up in the bank. Sometimes they will tell you these currencies are not available for them to give out to you, which has become very difficult for us, and for people who are studying abroad, it has become really difficult, and the government don't really understand that this is what they're facing.
For Ado, an end user, cutting Forex allocation to the BDC may have worsened the Naira more, and what still made Forex accessibility more difficult to ordinary Nigerians who need it for their businesses and personal use.
Cutting them off or taking out the Bureau de Change market has made it really difficult for individuals like us, and also the business-wise when it comes to that. Now, businesses are stuck when it comes to the prices being hiked up, and we don't have any, like, importation of things now have become really difficult for us, like for the field where I come from, and we sell our products in foreign currencies. So when you have customers that come to you because of how the prices are and the rate at which the exchange rate has gone up, it becomes really difficult for us business owners to actually be able to sell off what we have. So I think it would actually be a good idea if the government considers putting back the Bureau de Change markets into the system back for us for easy access into foreign currencies, because the banks are not really making it easy for us. If you're about to travel out of Nigeria, when you go to buy money from the bank, it becomes extremely difficult as well. Sometimes you don't even get the currency you're looking for, and the black market also, which is the quickest aspect you can get money from, and don't have that funds to give you anymore. So it becomes really difficult for people that want to travel to as well.
For her choice is clear when it comes to forex transactions.
I would prefer to use the one that's the fastest for me, which is the BDC. BDC, any day, anytime when I come here, there's money available. My transactions are done in less than 30 minutes. So that I would prefer it any day, anytime.
Foreign exchange, hard currencies, dollar, pound sterling, euro, Dutch marks, French francs, and so on. It is all about Forex. It is the denominator that lubricates the economy as well as your life. International trade is run by it. Our national economy is dependent on it. As a manufacturer, it is what you need to bring your materials from overseas. And as a parent, it is what you need to send your children to school abroad. And for critical medical treatment, Forex is what you need to get that hospital outside Nigeria. So you need to know how it's faring in the market, how and where you can get it through the banks and the BDCs. Forex Matters will bring to you information on developments in the Forex market and how the community is responding, just to make it good for you. Forex Matters, your monitor on Forex developments.
Dr. Aminu Gwadabe is the President, Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, APCON. He speaks on the weakening of the Naira, the why and the way forward.
All along, we have depended solely on one single source of foreign exchange, which is the oil, that accounted for over 90% of what we have received. The other sources, is it direct foreign investment, portfolio investment? They are dry up. Instead, what we are seeing is exist. The stable one is the diaspora remittances. It's cheaper, it's stable, and it's big. Unfortunately, it's not officially captured.
He says a major reason why the Naira may be weak has to do with the disparity between the official and the private market rates.
The existence of the fixed and flexible exchange rate. We are telling them to come at the official rate of 411, 412, and while the flexible market is willing to give them at 510. So they say better is more than more. They will go for a better rate, and it's convenient for them. They have value. It's about convenience. It's about value. And like I said, Nigeria is an import-dependent country. So there are people that even meet them over there and settle the Naira here and use the dollar to do the importations of items that they did not have access to buy from the regulators.
The APCON president prescribes a strategy the nation's forex managers can adopt. And it's a strategy that gives the CBN a great opportunity, to explore the BDC window for effective strengthening of the Naira.
Don't deal the problem administratively. Adopt market pricing structure. If the people want value, sell to the BDC at the value these people are asking. We are using one stone to kill two birds. One, we are bringing in the inflow, and two, we are giving the owner the value of his money. And three is more convenience. So that is why we have put a lot of paper. We are working with a lot of experts to continue to engage the CBN. Because for us, we have seen a huge potential that we keep our subsector into operation, that we generate more of these sources of supply, because what we need is a radical shift.
Well, thank you for staying with me this time. And, well, for the past half hour, we've been together listening to operators, experts, and Forex end users tell us how they believe or think, the Naira can be strengthened. And I'm sure you learned a thing or two to get your understanding of the matter. Well, this is where I'll be pausing this discourse today. On the next episode, same station, same time, when we'll be talking all matters Forex. I remain your friend, your guide, Chris Polo Taigbe. Have a great day.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
This vaccine is safe, and it has been certified safe and usable by NAFTA.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International. Africa's window to the world.
This is the network service of the NTA.